But I know what all your why is. I just read about it on the internet. There was a story that said the greatest desire of men and women in the world, we're not talking about just U.S., in the world is to matter, to feel important, and to be valued. I mean, this is statistics they've taken. I didn't need to read that to know that. I've spent 30 years in an industry where I know that's the desire of people. And whether it's to take your kids to Disneyland, inside it's to matter. I'm going to make a difference. And the day I die, what's important is who shows up. Not the Brinks truck behind me, right? Not how much money I'm bringing in. None of that's going to matter. What's going to matter, how many people show up because of your life. And in our business, it just happens to be that the more people you show up in their life, they're going to show up in yours. And so that's how you build it. And I don't know who they are. You know, if there was a deck of cards, 104 cards here right now, how would I know who the aces are? Some of you think you know. That's why you make a list for this business and you won't show your brother Jack, or you won't show that gal at work. They'll never do it. Oh, really? You know what? I had so many people in business I thought never would that did, and I had so many that I thought would for sure that never did. So don't think you got any prediction here. You ain't God. You ain't going to figure this out. That's why I just turned the card over. Hey, here's an opportunity. What's your why? What do you want to do to change your life? And I know what their why is. They want to value, important, and matter. And you know why they don't feel valued, important, or matter? Because part of it is they feel hopeless. For a man, when you're broke and you can't provide for your family, it sucks and you don't feel good about yourself. Okay, that's the bottom line. Remember a guy said to me once, he said, unless it's better for you than it was for your kids, you failed as a man. It was like a slap. I go, dude, I'm going to pull my revolver out and shoot you. But it was true. And so for us, especially as men and women too, that men have this thing where I'm going to provide for my family. You heard Scott talk about it. Starts crying, talking about Gabby having to work and then her coming home. And now, you know, his story of standing and watching his daughter get off that bus. Are you kidding me right now? You know, the first pitch in Little League, the first steps at home. All the things so much of his men, and now 65% of the women in America don't get to see. Because they got to go to work so they can make it, because that's what they know they're supposed to do. No, what you're supposed to do is do something that's tough, that's a struggle, that may not be comfortable, so that you can financially get to the place where you are in your life so you can own your life again. That it belongs to you. It's your life. You make choices. You live the way you want to live. You know, you coach the kids' games. I built the Amway business. I had my first son when I was 32 years old. At 32, I was basically free. I sold my construction company, quit law enforcement, got out of it, and I was making $1 million a year in Amway. So, I mean, when my son was born, I spent 2 weeks never leaving my home. I mean, I'd have nursed him if I could have. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I was madly in love with this boy. But maybe some of you guys, men, will relate to this. When my son was born, I remember the doctor bringing him in. He hands him to me. He's in this blue blanket. And I don't know if any of you ladies in here are nurses that work in hospitals, but I don't know how they wrap them in these blankets, but it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. They're like a torpedo. Seriously. Their arms are here, like this, and they're locked in. I mean, you could send somebody on a 40-yard out, and you could pass the kid, he would never move. He'd just like fly through the air, right? But seriously, but he brings them in, and I remember because he handed them to me, and I started bawling. And I remember taking him and just taking all the blanket off and laying him there and seeing this beautiful little naked body of my son. And I remember just asking God, what am I going to do? I never had a dad. I don't know how to be a dad. I don't know how to raise this boy. What do I do with this? How am I going to do this? When he asks me this, what am I going to say? I was scared to death. I'll never forget that day. And I remember just wrapping him back up and putting him in my arms. And for me personally, it was just almost like God says, I'll show you. Don't worry about it. And my son, when he was born, it was just amazing for my life. Scared, yeah, but so exciting. Because you know what? I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have to leave the job. I didn't have to go anywhere. I could just spend my life with now I have 3 children. They're 27, 26, and 24. 2 of them are married. My other son's getting married May 19th. Amazing children. But they were my life. All I wanted to do was just be with them. I guess part of it would drive because I never had a dad, so I wanted to be a dad that was there. Some of you dads here understand that. You relate to that. I think it kind of, my son was 7 one day. He goes, Dad, you got any friends of your own? I go, thanks a lot. Like, no, seriously, like, hey, dude, I got free to hang with you. I know, Dad, but, you might want to have some other friends. We're playing cars, right, skateboarding. It was great. But some of the greatest blessings for my children was traveling around the world. We played golf in Scotland when they were 7 years old. You're riding, just do crazy stuff all over the world. The world was their education. We homeschooled to them. We took a teacher with us. And when we wanted to go, we just went. And we lived this incredible life. Incredible life. And I think about that and I think, the time I was building my Amway business, I was tired. I never slept. I worked all night as a cop, all day in construction, showed my Amway business night after night after night after night. I just remember sitting one day, I was sitting with them, and I don't even remember where we were, somewhere in the world, sitting at this resort and watching them playing in this big pool somewhere, I don't remember where it was, and just breaking down and going, I can't believe it, was this worth it? Are you kidding me right now? You slept a little less for 3 years. But see, the value that came from that wasn't my business and necessarily all we had, which we were blessed with a lot. It was so many people in my group that I helped have what we had. I love sitting down with wealthy people and they go, the ones that don't get it, they say things like, well, I have a lot of money. I have a lot of time. Why would I ever do something like this? I love to sit and look them right in the eye and go, when was the last time you ever helped anybody have what you have in life? When did you go give somebody something of what you have? That's what this business is about. That's what Beachbody is. That's why I love this company. And I built the Amway business for 25 years. 12 years ago, I stopped building it just to do other things, ministry. I worked with fathers and sons and reconciliation, doing wonderful things and fun and things in my life. Being able to be out there doing those things I love. But you know what? When I saw this business and this company, I knew that this is exactly what we had when I got in 1979. Because it was driven by passion. 75,000 coaches. When I got in the Amway business in 79, there were 250,000 coaches. Everybody said, hey, that's going to saturate. Whole world's getting in. I'll saturate. My answer was always the same. God, I hope they're all in my group. That's all I can say. Never really saturated. You know what you'll never saturate? Laziness, ignorance, and doubt. And the world's full of it. People say, well, everybody's going to get in that. I said, okay, you really believe that? I said, do me a favor, go show this to 5 people next week and come back and tell me if you got that issue anymore. Because you got this. That'll never work. People said to me, you still in that thing? Like I had leprosy or something. You going to get over it, right? You still in that thing? I love that. See, I'm just a competitive person. Every person that said I couldn't do it fired me up. Got me excited. I don't know anybody who's ever made money in that. I said, well, then you're going to want to stay in touch with me because you're going to want to know someone down the road. Get a big lunch, sit in the bushes, and watch because I'm going to get it done. I used to say to people. And not in a bad way, but I loved it. It's like I was in the church, 12 years ago, a guy sitting next to me. He goes, what do you do? And I said, I'm an Amway guy, Amway distributor. He says, I was in that once. I go, really? He goes, yeah, I quit. I go, I didn't. It was true. So whether it was the Amway business or this business, I understood what you need to understand. That's why I said it's important you understand this business. It's about people. It's about finding people with DNA. It's finding a fat kid obese who sat in a closet of hopelessness and believed that somebody spoke something to him about someday, some way you're going to do something great with your life. Where was that guy? He was in construction. He was a law enforcement guy. He was fed up, hopeless, sad, sick of his life, sick of working for, and knowing when he had a kid, I want to spend time with him. Then he found me. That was me. And that's what your stories are about. And that's what you guys are about. The imagination needs to come back. Why not? Why not me? Why not me? Why not revisit those? Just take a chance. Get on that crazy stick with that straw horse head on it and ride it around your neighborhood. Do that this week. Go buy one and do it. I'm serious. They'll go, oh, dude, what's wrong with you? Nothing, just ride my horse. Seriously, you'll blow your neighbors' minds. They'll go, oh, dude, 5150, this guy's crazy. He's out. Crazy sucker. I loved it. You're crazy. I go, I know, man. Kind of look at him with that Nicholson look when he gets that, what did he play that? What was the thing? Oh, yeah, when he was the Joker. I used to kind of do that. You're crazy, I know. All I know is the more money I made, the crazier I got. Because it didn't much matter anymore. I didn't have to make everybody happy and please everybody. There's 3 words I want to leave you with today. One is passion. You need to be passionate about your life. You need to quit sipping life and start gulping it down. You need to make some choices today. Maybe at this event, draw a line and say, that's it. I'm done sipping life down. I'm done just getting by. I'm done thinking back of those dreams that I could have had, that I put aside, and I keep putting aside and putting aside. I'm going to change it. And then 2, you need to learn the word connect. Because if you can connect with people, C.S. Lewis tells the story of, any of you read C.S. Lewis? I love C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis tells the story of when his wife died. He was madly in love with his wife years and years. She died and she was in a viewing room and he was in there sobbing and sitting next to her casket. And she was absolutely he was beside himself. And he said, person after person walked into the room and just quoted typical things that sometimes Christians say, like, she's in a better place. This is God's will. All these things that people say to you they don't know what to say. I get that. And he said, it's all these things. And then all of a sudden this man walks in. He scoots up right next to him on this bench, puts his arm around him, puts his head on his shoulder and holds him for 30 minutes and never says a word. And gets up and leaves. And C.S. Lewis said, I will never remember one word any of those people said, but that man, I'll never forget the rest of my life. So people say, how do I build this business? You show up. You don't have to say a lot. In fact, if you listen, it's a whole lot better. That's the 3rd word, you listen. Because when you become a great listener, people's these walls, these things start to get let down because they really know you care. And what do people want? They want to be valued. They want to feel important. They want to matter. That guy sitting next to C.S. Lewis made him feel important, valued, and then he mattered. He didn't quote all this stuff to him, all the easy things to say. He just stood there and loved on him. How do you build your business? There's a whole lot of people in the world right now, in Idaho Falls, right here. They're just waiting for someone to sit up next to them, put their arm around them, and just listen about their life, about their story. Remember this, coaches. Never tell them your story till you hear theirs. Never tell them your story till you hear theirs. Listen to what they have to say. And you're going to realize people like this, like Heather, like Scotty, those stories are like courageous. Those are courageous stories. Without fear, there's no courage. We have to help people realize, where you came from? And I realized this, the more I thought about what I'd overcome, not to pat myself on the back, but what I'd overcome, I started to feel better about who I was. Gave me confidence. Confidence to move forward. So many of us just take this past and we use it. We almost wear it, some of us, as a crown. Well, yeah, I could probably be so further along, but you have no idea where I've come from. You know what? You all know it, and I know it, and I had to learn it. You can't do nothing about it. Nothing. That's the past. So do we sit and we kill our future because all we do is live in the past? No. We come to a point and say, why not me? Why not me? Those dreams, I'm bringing them down. You want to help me, Scotty? Then jump in, but I'm running hard. We're just life changers. We're just dream giveawayers. We're just getting in people's face and saying, come back to what you know you need to be as a coach. I want to care for you. I want to be your coach. I want to love on you. I'm here for you. And you know who rise up for that? The people who have the DNA. The right people. That's how you build organizations. That's how it started with 2 people and went to 80,000 in a downline. I don't get it. All I know is I was just going to go find these 6 people to love on and just listen to their story and give them encouragement and tell them I can help you. Let's go, let's run, let's go to the lake. You want to run to the lake? I'll run with you. You want to crawl? I'll crawl with you. If I got to pick you up sometimes, I'll carry you. But we're going to the lake. What's the lake for you? What's the lake for you? And it's embracing that as a coach. That's what we do. See, we ain't just P90X. We ain't just Shakeology. Great products. They get us in shape. We have the reset coming out. You're going to see a whole thing on it. A whole thing on it. You know what I'm talking about? A reset emotionally. A reset inside. Changing the heart, the soul, the emotion, the dreams. That's what I'm talking about, resetting. We're going to talk about resetting the internal organs, all those kinds of things. You know what? We got a lot of toxins that have nothing to do with us physically, but they end up affecting us physically. I'm talking about dealing with some of those toxins that I had to deal with, to overcome, to get through it, to make it down the road, and to be able to finish. And so that's what I want to challenge you guys with today. Listen, connect. Listen and connect in passion. Melissa said it. When your why intersects with your purpose, you have conviction to change. When your why intersects with your purpose. That's why we talk so much to your coaches about the why. Because I want to be a visionary for you. Because I see, the first time I met Heather, last time we were here, I visualized her successful, driving whatever car she wants, living in whatever home she wants, taking her children wherever they want to go, and traveling, and all these incredible things. Because I can see that. When she does, she'll be there. And it's a growth process, right? It takes time. I'm just telling you, girl, don't you ever slow down. Because you're on a road right now that's amazing. And the number of lives you're going to touch is going to blow your mind. I just want to tell you that, and I'm serious about that. Because your story is so powerful. And so are a bunch of you guys. It might be time to tell them. It might be time to tell them. I'm going to close with a story, and then I'm done. And I'll come back in a little bit. But my dream, my dream when I got the Amway business was to meet one of the top guys in Amway. His name was Jim Jans. He lived in Canada. And his Amway business was the third largest corporation in all of Canada. So you can see what kind of business he had. But he was the most man of integrity, Christian man. I heard him speak. He just was one of those guys. I got to meet this guy. So when I went diamond in Amway, it was like that was on my vision board, my dream board. And so I went diamond in Amway, and about 3 weeks after I went diamond, I get a call from Jim Jans. And I had spoken and shared her story, and it was, and he'd heard us speak, and so it was kind of like he calls me, he goes, Craig, would you come and speak for me? And I'm like, whoa, this is like one of those, you go, whoa, like, whoa, spiritual, crazy stuff, right? And I go, yeah, really confident, successful leader, yeah. Anyway, so I fly into Vancouver, BC. He sends this beautiful limousine to pick me up, and his limousine takes me to the finest restaurant in Vancouver. And this man had so much wisdom. It was the finest restaurant. And so we went in there, and I met him there, and I hugged him, and I just sat down with him, and I'm kind of in awe by him and say, hey, Jim, I just want to tell you, even though I've never met you, you've affected my life. I've listened to your information, I've listened to tapes, I've listened to stuff, and I just want to thank you for being involved in my life. And so we started this conversation. While we were conversing, this woman walked in, a homeless woman, putrid looking. I mean, dirt, filthy dirt, vomit on her jacket. I mean, she's walked into this beautiful, elegant restaurant. And she walked in, and she went over and she sat at a table. And I started feeling like really uncomfortable, like, oh, wow, this is like weird. This is like, I don't even know what like this. And I remember the waitress started to come over to throw her out, and Jan went like this. And he's like, probably been in the restaurant his whole life, and he might own it, I don't know. But it was like, he goes like this. So he calls our waitress over, and he orders a $1,000 bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, $1,000 bottle. And he asks for 3 glasses. They bring the 3 glasses. Letty takes the wine, puts it in his, he tastes it. He says, pour this glass. He did. And Jim took the glass, stood up, and walked over to this woman. And he sat in front of her. And he smiled at her. And this woman, sadness, this little smile came, no teeth. This little smile came on her face. He came back and he sat down. It was my greatest lesson in leadership and humility. He said, Craig, until you understand her value equals yours, you'll never be successful in life. I went, oh, a life lesson I will never forget. Right in front of me, right before me. The people you meet, you value. I don't care where you're from, I don't care your education, I don't care any of that. But if you have a dream, we want you to come in and be a part of our story. Because I want to hear your story. Like I heard Heather's, like I heard Melissa's, like I've heard Scotty's. You're valuable to us. You're important to us. That's why we're growing. That's why what Scotty's doing here, and you leaders are doing here, you're blowing it up here. You know why? Because we just keep finding one more person, right, that just has that DNA, that right person. and all of a sudden they jump aboard. Seeds in an apple, apples in a seed. 8 to 10 seeds in every apple. Millions of apples from every seed. That's what we do in this business. That's who we are. I'll look forward to being back in a little bit. Thanks so much, guys.